Beautify,
define,
educate,
agitate,
support,
support,
and empower.
empower.
Welcome everyone. So we are on speaker series next episode, the episode number 6 right now. And today I am very much interested in doing this session, and we have a different person today. So he is not like a common person, like he is unique. So he has done something which is related to his passion. And he is doing currently, he is a rap artist. So welcome Jesal Vora.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So tell us about just give us a quick introduction about you.
So basically, I am a rap artist from New Delhi. I have been like in the music scene for more than 6, 7 years, and I'm a recording artist first, and then you could say that I do gigs as well in Delhi. And yep, that's about it. I write, rap, record, everything. All of that is done by me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jesal. So I guess like we have like I'll explain you our set of speaker series session, like how we do this. The format is so first we are going to ask you about lots of questions regarding your background, and then we will switch on to your career journey. And there are a few more different sections, and then in the end we will be giving you some surprise element as well. So would you like to take over, Richa?
Yes. So, welcome on board, Jason. It's
Thank you.
really exciting to have you here today. And let's start with knowing a bit about your background first. All right.
Yep.
So, would you like to tell us that, what did you study in college and where do you work right now?
Yep. So basically, I have always been in Delhi and I did my graduation from Satyavati College in Delhi. And I did my graduation in English honors. And after that, I started working with digital market. I started working in the digital marketing industry. And currently, I'm working with Google Ads. I'm working for a third party company. And I'm an ads account manager, you could say. So that's something that just keeps me afloat. Apart from that, my passion has always been, ever since I was in school, to make music and basically just to write. I had a knack for writing and then I worked on it. And I mean, here we are. I mean, you guys are talking to me, and that's awesome.
Wow, that's really wonderful to know that you've always been passionate about writing and music. That's really
Yeah.
nice. And so talking about your passion, so how does that incorporate in your work day while you're also working on your full-time role?
So yeah, that's not easy. I mean, I would be lying if I say that, it's easy because basically I live alone, so you have to manage your day-to-day chores along with your job and then find time to make music. But this is sort of like a test for me, and it's sort of like an experiment that I did with myself, that if I can actually keep doing music along with my regular job, along with doing these chores, then I can say that I have a passion for this. Or else it's very easy to just be home, and nobody asks you to make any do anything. You don't have to take care of your finances and you're just doing music. That's pretty easy. And even then it becomes boring, because I don't know. For me, it's that way. Is that if you don't have enough to stimulate you, you wouldn't be able to actually excel at anything, because you don't have to achieve. You don't have to put in that kind of effort. So on a day-to-day basis, I go to the post lockdown. I used to go to my shift, come back from the shift, do my clothes because I wash my clothes every day. I mean, I don't know, it's irrelevant, but yeah, it takes a lot of time. So apart from that, you have to figure out your food. Earlier, I used to cook as well. Now, luckily, I have a maid. So after that, you actually make music, and so that used to take a lot of time. What I'm supposed to do in a couple of days, let's say making a song, making a new track, usually takes me like 2 to 3 days if I'm not doing anything else. But when you're doing all of these things, it takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and maybe more as well sometimes. So yeah, it's pretty hectic. And then, late at night, like after 12 or so, you start making music, then you stay up till 3. And the thing about doing something creative is you cannot just push a button and it happens.
Yeah.
You have to get into the whole groove. A lot of people do a lot of different, things to actually get into the groove, but I cannot afford to do all of those things because I have like a small window. So I have to make sure that, it just happens. So you have to sort of train yourself. And yeah, it's hectic, it's difficult, but yes, it's doable. It's very doable. That's why I'm still
Nice.
hopeful.
Nice. That sounds like you're really excited about what you're doing because you're able to put in efforts even after working a full-time job. So that's really good to know. Now, would you be able to actually share some photos or a video of yours, which represents the kind of work that you're doing?
Okay. It's going to be a little explicit. How should I share it with you? I mean, should I share via, okay, I'll just share it with you here, right? Photos, are you able to
Maybe
see me when I do this?
Mhm.
You're able to
No.
see? No, right?
So no, I guess like it will be difficult to share on the screen, but
Okay.
you can definitely send us. We will put those
Okay.
sharing in this video.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. I'll send it to you
Yeah.
guys. I'll email you.
But like you can explain us how like actually you work or what things you work upon, and I'm very much interested into hearing some of your gigs as well.
So, basically, making a song is you have to first of all, like, that's how I do it. You have to first of all figure out an instrumental, the music, the beat, and that's a very major part. Sometimes people buy the beat, they buy the music, and you pay producers online, you get the music from them, but then the prices are so high that you cannot make like a catalog, or else you need a lot of money to make a catalog if you're buying beats. So the best thing is that you try to learn how to make beats, and I tried to learn how to make beats using this software called Fruity Loops. And Fruity Loops is like an industry standard software, and there are a lot of other softwares as well, Ableton and things like that, but software does not really matter. Every software is going to give you the same kind of result. At the end of the day, we have to, like, you just have to put effort into it, and you have to figure out what you want it to sound like, because every software is going to sound the same. And so I first of all make the beat. Once the beat is done, I start writing to it, and then it takes like a couple of days, sometimes maybe one day, sometimes a couple of hours to write the song. Once the song I've written, I record it. I record it using, like, I sometimes used to buy studio time. So you go, you pay the studio guy, you buy the studio time, they charge you on hourly basis, and then you record there, you get your vocals, and then sometimes they mix it with you as well. So I'll tell you, I mean, um, they if they mix it, you do not have much control over it, and you don't even get to do what you want to do with your vocals. So I what I do is I record it at home using a Zoom mic, and I plan to buy like a condenser mic, but for that, I'll have to get the whole room soundproof and things like that. So that's the next step. And or else I could, there are certain DIY kind of tools as well which people can use. But the main thing is you make the beat, you write the song, you record the track, you record your vocals on it. Once you have the vocals and you have the instrumental, you have to mix them and master them. And mastering is where your vocals are enhanced. In When I say enhanced, I don't mean like necessarily auto tune or nothing, because I do not use that. What I mean when I say enhanced is you fix the levels. Sometimes your voice has a lot of bass and the music has a lot of bass, so it becomes very muddy. So you have to make sure that whenever your voice is there, you take some bass off of your voice or off of the instrumental, and you do the same thing with all the instruments which are available in the music piece that you created, and you have to make it match with your vocals, so that both the instrumental and the vocal sound like one track, and there's no clash, vocal clash, there's no clash of frequencies. And after mixing and mastering, yeah, you have a song there, and then comes the hard part, how to make anybody listen to it.
And I think you are quite expert at it,
And
how to make everyone listen.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say that, I try my best. I mean, I have this Instagram handle where I just go for it because
Mhm.
I I realized this very early that, like, nobody, everybody's judging everybody, but I'm not that important in anybody's life and they're not important that, like, they're not really important in my life for me to not do what I want to do, put myself out there, how I wish to put myself out there, say my piece, and I try not to filter myself thinking from the third person perspective. It also backfires mostly, but yes, that just keeps me, gives me this drive that
Mhm.
I'm not really bogged down by what people are thinking, because if I start thinking what people are actually going to think about what I've made, I will get very depressed when their opinion is not that good about my music, and very happy when their opinion is, good about my music. And both of them are not good, I think, because then it puts me in this mental state of mind that whenever I'm making music, I'm always judging every little thing in the process from the perspective of the third person. How are they going to
Mhm.
accept it? How
Right.
are they going to
Yeah.
receive it? And that just changes the direction of which I'm trying to go in, or which anybody would try to go in, because then you are actually focusing on what they like, and then you might not actually make something that you like internally, you like personally. And if
Mhm.
you don't like what you make, I think it's pretty hard to keep doing that consistently until unless you're getting a lot of money for that. Because if you're getting money
Mhm.
and you don't like what you're doing, you'll still keep doing because there's this feedback. But yes, and financial feedback. But
Mhm.
yes, here there's no financial feedback. Everything is done so that, I feel good. And this is sort of, you could say, it'll sound very cliche, but it's a vent. And whenever things are not in my control, or whenever, things are not going right, I have this one thing forever that, I can make a song. And I've asked myself this question a lot of times in my life. Do I really want to do this? Or am I just doing this because, people think it's cool? But I really
Mhm.
like this art form. And that is the reason why I don't make music about like cliche topics. I don't try to ride social waves. Let's say if Corona is coming, people make songs about Corona. If, there's
Yeah.
like, there's going through a war, people make like songs about Desh Bhakti and things like that. I mean,
Mhm.
that's amazing. People should do that if they feel like it, if they actually
Mhm.
resonate with that cause. But just to ride that social, wave, I don't think that, it's really a good way to do it. So yep, that's what it is. I just try to keep it very authentic, and that's part of the reason why I do not have that much financial success right now. And I'll be very honest with you. I could have made a lot of different kind of music which could have gotten me
Mhm.
traction. I could also be on a label where they would pay me monthly salary, and I just have to make music that they tell me. And that just kills the whole reason of doing this. And that's the reason why I'm doing music independently. And independently, you could say that, I have my own distribution deal, and I
Mhm.
put my songs out, I make my songs, and then I put them out on the distribution platform. So these things are actually everywhere. You could find me on Spotify, on YouTube, on Savan, Ghana, everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And I think you correctly mentioned that, whatever resonates with anyone who's making art, whether it be music or any sort of art, whatever resonates with you, you should, follow your passion that ways. And
True.
I mean, listening to your story, you telling us, how you've been doing all these things, it sounds um, tremendously, tremendously well. Yeah. I'm sure you have a good number of audience, who actually connect to your music. So.
I have, like, let's say I have, you could say, 200 people who might listen to my music because I actually, make them listen to it. But out of those 200 people, I can say that 50 people are actually into what I'm doing, and they
And
look
that's really
forward to
good.
what I'm making. And my goal, like, if I tell you very honestly, I had this conversation with a couple of friends as well, like a few months back, that, what am I trying to do if I'm not actually getting any kind of traction? Bro, तू famous तो हो नहीं रहा है. तो मैंने यही कहा यार कि मतलब the whole process of making it, it does something for me. And my
Mhm.
main goal is what it does for me while I'm making it. Let's say if you have like a musician, if he's playing a guitar, there's a very special kind of, you could say, hormonal cocktail going through his head. And that
Mhm.
moment that he's in where he's playing the guitar and he's actually focused in it, it's an escape route. Not even escape route, that's a negative term. I would rather say that, it's sort of like, you could say, meditation or whatever. But yes, it's something that takes your attention away from all the things which are troubling you in life, or all the things that you might regularly be thinking about. It's a special room that you go into where it's just you and this act that you're doing. And so for me, writing is that act. When I make the
Mhm.
music, writing is that act when I'm writing to it. So how I write is I make the music, I play the beat, I play the instrumental, and then I write to it. And it takes me a couple of hours to, get into actually the writing mode, because you have to figure out. I mean, it's a trip altogether. But yes, writing is that thing for me.
Yeah. So I guess like you are already doing so much of effort in this section, in this thing, that you are creating a different segment like towards it, or because you, as you are saying, that lots of things which you could have ideally followed it to make money, but you are doing something which is of your passion. So
Yes.
you are creating a path for the other. So we actually salute you for this thing. So
I'm very
that's a
glad that
great thing.
I'm very glad that you
Sorry.
guys actually. I'm happy that you think this way, and you have this opinion, because like mostly people like क्या कर रहे हैं? I mean, इससे क्या होगा? But then
No.
my whole thing is, even if I get old, right? Once I'm like 45 or whatever, 50, I'll still be doing this. I'll still make music, because
Yeah.
imagine, people say that, that only young men like make music, young folks make music. I have never like there are very few people who get old and then talk about what it's like to get old, what it's like to
Mhm.
deal with those things. Everybody just talks about, the fun things which happen, let's say going out, partying, all those cliche subjects people make music about. Or
Right.
some people try to be like pseudo intellectuals in their music, like talk about, some revolution that they don't believe in, and go back home and do the same regular thing that they're doing. So I think that when I get older, it'll be more interesting for me. I just hope that I
Mhm.
don't get in life. That's the only thing that I have. I'll be very honest with you. That, I hope that, I can do this, and that's the goal, just to be able to do this. I mean, so these songs that I make are like tattoos. I mean, they signify
Okay.
timestamps. They signify a state of mind that I was in. They signify a particular phase that I was in my life.
Mhm.
So the songs that I've made like a
Mhm.
couple of years back, when I really listen to it, I hear my, young state of mind, what I was thinking, and then it's
Okay.
good to reflect when you look back. So it's like diary writing sort of kind of thing for me. That, I'm documenting my state of mind as I grow older.
Yeah, like that's a different style or like a different form as well, which you have mentioned, like state of mind. Like we have never thought of it, like ever every anyone will write some gigs on it. So that's great.
Yeah,
So
I yeah.
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, so that's just what it is. I mean, I document the state of mind, but I'll also tell you this: I try to fit in this whole genre of hip hop as well.
Mhm.
I try to
Mhm.
appeal to that audience as well, not by making an effort for it, but yes, even if I'm like, I fell in love with this art form, so I'm bound to actually make
Mhm.
something which hip hop listeners would like, because I was a fan before
Yeah.
I started making music. So I want to give people that feeling that, if they hear my music, they feel excited, or somebody who follows my music, they wait for the track to come out, because that's how I used to be. I used to be very excited for albums to come out, and I used to wait for
Mhm.
them. And yeah, and one thing I would like to share with you, like there are a lot of artists that people listen to. The kind of artists who you choose to listen to, they shape your state of mind as well. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're a regular music listener, the kind of music that you listen to, it shapes your state of mind as well. If you listen to music a lot. And for me, growing up, I luckily made a choice to listen to artists who were talking about something beyond just money, cars, and women and things like that. I
Mm-hmm.
started listening to people who were actually talking about real issues that they were going through, and
Mm-hmm.
how they were facing, how they were facing the challenges, how they were trying to overcome them. So you could say my music is basically just to motivate myself. And yeah, that's what it is.
Right. That's really
Richa,
nice.
you,
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah.
So I'm actually going to ask a little bit about your journey, the way you've reached here, how actually you thought of starting, um, stepping into this journey of making music. So would you like to share that?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I was introduced to this art form by my cousin brother. He was in a much better school than me. So he had like friends who used to listen to hip hop, and he came back home on during summer holidays, and he got a CD for us, and we were in like sixth, seventh. So I started listening to that, and I was very intrigued by it. I really liked it. And then he was like, तुझे पता है कौन है? मैंने बोला नहीं पता है मुझे. And then actually this whole thing that मुझे नहीं पता है और मुझे कितना कितना कुछ नहीं पता है इस चीज के बारे में, that actually was the driving force why I started figuring out, what are these guys first of all saying. And then when
Mm-hmm.
I started figuring out what they're saying, I started selecting people who I want to listen to, who's talking about the things which resonate with me. So, and then I wrote my first song when I was in 11th, 12th. And
Mm-hmm.
amongst my friends, these guys were very supportive. These guys were like, this is nice, you should do more of this. And then once I got to college, I started doing more of it. And but then, one major, you could say, roadblock that I had, the mental roadblock that I had, was that I always wanted to make music which, I don't know, not for the clubs. And
Mhm.
every like people say that, if you have to make it in the music scene, you have to make music for the clubs. And my thing was that, I cannot do that because I was very shy growing up. And I didn't want to go and perform because my cousin brother was a part of this group, which does not sound very nice right now, but yeah, they used to call themselves hip hop mafia. And
All right.
it's all young kids, right? I mean, they made this group, and he introduced me to it. He was very supportive of me doing this because he was also making music. And then we used to actually discuss different artists. Then I actually got into how you write. So writing is a whole different
Mm-hmm.
ball game. There are different kind of writers. People who just try to focus on the flow. People who just try to make, minimalistic kind of uh, rap songs where they don't use any complex rhyme schemes or nothing. But my thing was, I was very attracted by technical aspect of it, like writing complex rhyme schemes, writing better rhymes. And so yes, that's what actually got me into it. And interestingly, I used to play sports. So my dad was like a very, you know much of a sports enthusiast, you could say. He was a national boxing champion. He had
That's
like
it.
medals in um, track meets, and tracking track events and stuff like that. So naturally, he also got me into boxing when I was young, and I was doing very well there. And so that was the trajectory that I was going in. I didn't have no information about music. And then, luckily or unluckily, I broke my leg. Because we had a stupid bet in school where you had to jump from a certain thing, and I did it and I broke my leg there. After that,
Uh,
I was my dad's favorite child. Then I was nowhere even close. So then music was the thing because I always like something which had like a sport kind of an element, and hip hop has that sport kind of an element to it.
Mhm,
You always try to make better music, you always try to write better tracks and things like that.
mhm,
Okay.
And apart from that, like you could say, and then once I got into college, I kept making music, and then met Skip. After meeting Skip, we started doing gigs in Delhi. One of my first gigs
mhm,
messed up pretty bad. And when you're in front of people who don't even know you, they're going to be pretty ruthless to you. And I had some very memorable, nice experiences. There was this one time I did my first gig for a guy named Rana, and he does this thing in Delhi which is called reproduce artist. He has this property where he calls a lot of underground people, underground musicians, and he gives them a spot to do their set. And I did my first set with him. He gave me the first break, you could say, before I met Skip as well. And there I had like a pretty bad experience. Let's say when you're playing live, right? You are supposed to use different kind of cables to make sure that your laptop or whatever interface that you're using connects with the sound system. But me
mhm,
being a naive guy, I used a jack, like a normal 3.5 jack, and I plugged it in. Everything was going smooth, but in the middle of it, the thing started because the bass was the speakers were heavy, so the bass was so heavy that this jack started making noise, but tuck 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 tuck. And when you're like in the middle of a set, people are listening to you, and this thing is just making this weird noise, and it just kept going, and in the middle of the set, Rana comes and he tells me that I think that we'll have to cut this short. But I was like, hey,
mhm.
just let me finish this song, and we'll cut this short.
Yeah.
And that was a crazy experience. But then once I started doing gigs with Skip, we did pretty amazing gigs. I mean, we opened up for Troy Boy as well when Troy Boy came to Delhi, and we did that in Kitty Sue. We also opened up for DJ Premier when he came to Delhi in Kitty Sue, and
Wow.
DJ Premier is actually an OG. So we
Mhm,
did a couple of great gigs for sure. But now I'm just trying to focus on making a catalog. I'm just trying to focus on making more music. I have one album out, or two, you could say one EP out, which is in English, which is
mhm,
called Kitchen Dreams. And that EP I wrote because I literally wrote those songs in my mom's kitchen growing up, and it's a compilation of those songs. And then I have this Hindi album because I've just started making Hindi music. Like it's been only
uh-huh,
an year and a half, and I have made like one album worth like 7 9 songs. It's called Chakmak Patthar, and I have that
mhm.
album on Spotify and everywhere else. Both those projects are out on all the streaming platforms.
That's great.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty nice. I mean, you said you have, a small number of audience, on Instagram, but I see that you've interacted with so many people and how, people actually know about it. They actually must be liking your music, that is why they interact with you. Yeah, that's really nice to hear.
Sure thing, and I'm very grateful for it that people like actually like my music, and from time to time a lot of people keep telling me that you should not stop doing this, even though sometimes you feel like I mean, why am I doing this? And sometimes you feel like that, but you just have to write those days out and not make a decision in that state of mind. So
So,
I'm very grateful when people actually share with me that they like my music, because it takes a lot for a stranger to actually first of all listen to your music and then come and tell you via Instagram or any other platform that they really like my music even though they don't know me, and
Mhm,
that's amazing. That's beautiful.
nice. So we would also like to know if there are any courses that you actually took to make music, or that you would actually recommend for people to go through, which could aid them uh, in getting into this industry or making music.
So I did not take any courses. That's why it took me, you could say, so long. I mean, it's basically I'm self-taught completely, and I think that nobody in this day and age needs courses because the if you go to any, you could go ahead and enroll in audio engineering courses and you would learn amazing things there. That's one useful
Mhm.
course that you could do in case you want to do. You could go
Okay.
ahead, find out a good audio engineering school and first of all become an audio engineer. That ways you'll actually know sound design, how sound works, and you'll also know the softwares, how to use them. And there are some amazing teachers as well, who can actually teach you. Even this friend who I work with, DJ Skip, he also gives like
Mhm.
classes to young and up and coming DJs and people who want to learn DJing. He teaches them. And so there are schools for them. You can go ahead and do that, but just in case you cannot afford to, or you cannot convince your parents to get you that training or get you into that kind of course, YouTube is actually full of information, and
Yeah.
everybody who actually wants to learn anything, you have everything that you need. And there are people who are very highly qualified in the industry, not even in India, all over the world, who are teaching people online. And on YouTube there are multiple. So YouTube is like as far as music and as far as everything else, it's an amalgamation of a lot of content creators. And if you go through multiple people, if you go to multiple channels, and you'll realize that somewhere you start making sense of what's happening. Some people might say something different, the other person might say something slightly different, but if you keep researching, you'll at the end of the day form a clear picture in your head. And I think YouTube is amazing as a learning tool for sure. Like you
Right,
have courses, you have channels which teach you how to run the software. There are channels which teach you how to write. There are channels which even teach you how to deal with the writer's blog. I mean, intangible things also
Mhm.
they help you with. So there's everything out there.
yeah, I think in this era of digitalization, it has become easy for people to access more information. So that's really good to know that, so much of information about making music is also available on such
True.
platforms.
And I think
And
that
would you
it is
Mhm.
also
right.
tell us a bit about what softwares or instruments do you use for?
So basically, I use Fruity Loops. Like I said,
Right.
that's an industry standard software. You can also use Ableton. You can use a lot of different softwares. But at the end of the day, it does not matter what software you use. It's what matters is how well versed you are with the software. How well do you know how to run it? And the best thing is, earlier we used to be able to make music, you had to buy instruments. You had to buy a piano, guitar, and synth, everything, mixer, and everything. In this day and age,
Mhm.
you can just get one software, which also you can get like free of cost. You have everything in it. You have every
Okay.
instrument that you want. And I basically just use that software to record as well and to make music as well. And Fruity Loops is it's a complete software. It gives you ability to mix, master, record. Um, the, Even though I do not use Fruity Loops to record, but you can for sure record in Fruity Loops as well. What I do is just to make it
Sure.
simple because I do not have a setup here. I have my setup back home. So here I have a Zoom mic. Zoom mic is not very apt to be honest for recording, but then again, it gives you a very good quality to be honest. And it depends on how you actually master it at the end and master your vocals at the end, how you polish your vocals at the end, how you process the vocals, and you can get very good quality vocals out of the Zoom mic as well. I plan to buy a condenser mic, but then again, condenser mic, I will be getting it. Condenser mic you could get, they start from anywhere between 25K to a couple of lakhs. But yes,
Mhm.
anything which you can get your hands on, let's say a Zoom mic. Zoom mic, I've like gotten it from a friend of mine because Zoom mics are also pretty expensive. But it does not really matter. You can also get like normal Shure mics, which are not that expensive. You can get a mic worth like 300. I beg your pardon, $3,000, and those are pretty durable. You also get like amazing quality, audio quality, sound quality, vocals, everything. So yep,
Mhm.
I use Fruity Loops basically, and pretty basic setup. I do not have anything extravagant.
Mhm.
Okay, that was pretty detailed. Thanks for sharing that. And would you like to take up the next part? Um,
Yeah, tell us about, like, I'll take you to another topic, right, a separate segment right now.
yeah.
So if a person who is a special need person, like, how do you think, like, if it will be like, how they can pursue this career? If you have any idea, if you know anyone, or you have experienced some people, like how they have used this opportunity to go into this career. So you can give us like
So
some knowledge on that.
for sure. So there's this school in Delhi in Hoskas. I think DJ Gurus or I'm not remembering their name. There's a DJ school in Hoskas. There I met a guy. He was autistic, and he was
Okay.
still able to learn DJing, and he used to come
Uh-huh.
every day for the classes, and he was pretty good at it.
Okay.
And
Wow.
it's just basic, and we all were very impressed by it because of the fact that
Mhm.
he was the most dedicated person in that whole school, because everybody was taking it lightly, but that person
Yeah.
was taking it very seriously because he was very invested in it. And people do not take it lightly because it comes easy to them, and somebody's your mom and dad, they paid for the school and you're coming, you're wasting your time here. That guy used to not even talk much with anybody. He used to just, so the teacher gives you certain drills to do, certain
Hmm.
scratches to do, or certain exercises to do,
Mhm.
and it's on you how much you practice. And the dude used to
Mhm.
come every day, practice, not waste time at all. Because I mean, he didn't even feel comfortable talking to people, and this was his vent. And I was very inspired by him. And he's still doing DJing. And let's say if anybody wants to learn, right? YouTube
Mhm.
is, I cannot stress this enough. It's so powerful that you can just be at home, interpret
Mhm.
information, and you could just learn. If there is somebody who can actually relay the information, share the information, help you make sense of the information, what is this, you
Mhm.
can actually learn from YouTube. It could be a parent, it could be a brother, or anybody who actually cares enough to share that with you, make help you learn as well, because YouTube is going to teach you everything. But then again, if you go to, let's say, a teacher, real time scenario I'll give you, if you go to a teacher, you might not get that kind of an attention, being as
Mhm.
so in such situations it's much better that if you have a sibling, if you have somebody who is actually helping you and supporting you in learning a particular software or learning a particular skill set, you should use YouTube. And I think that everybody can make music, and I've seen it real time. So yeah, it's pretty possible, it's very possible.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about, like, I have seen that when you are following a passion, and it is very difficult to reach to that level to earn that much money. So
True.
this journey is actually very difficult when you are passing through that phase. So as you said that you are still in that phase, and you are like, you will definitely reach on that level. So during this phase, like, how do you find yourself to cope up with, like, your earnings as well as your passion? Like, how you are managing both the things together?
So this is something very important, that you have to actually figure out what, like, you cannot just be one dimensional. If you
Mhm.
want to be one dimensional, you have to be very young. And if you start very young, you can be one dimensional. Let's say in your teens and in your early 20s, you can be one dimensional. You can focus on one thing, and if you excel in it by the age of, let's say, 22, 23, and you get your stars align, you end up making good money there, then that's the best case scenario, that you can just make music or just do that particular thing, paint, anything that you want to do. And since you're good at it, since you're young, you can take that risk. You're still living with your family, so at that point of time you can still be one dimensional. But the best thing is to actually have a career path going on along with this particular
Mhm.
thing. Even if you have, let's say, a passion like I had, that I just want to make music when I get older. It really helped me, because if I it really helped me when I kept this thought in mind, that I have to figure out something which puts me in a situation where I can fund myself and I can make music. So you have to, for sure, to be able to make great music, you need to be very financially stable. Not like super financially stable, but yes, you need to make sure that you are taking care of your finances all by yourself. You have a career path which is giving you that opportunity to do a job, to do, let's say, anything, digital marketing or whatever, follow a professional
Mhm.
degree or anything. And along with this, if you want to do music, you could just keep doing music. But then again, like I said, there are two trajectories. Some people, they start very young and then they excel when they're young, and then they can be like one dimensional. They can only focus on their art, their craft, and that feeds you. That also keeps,
Mhm.
that helps you grow in life. But then if for whatever reason you didn't get that traction when you were young, it's very important to figure out a career, a normal career, which feeds you, which helps you financially. And then
Okay.
making music is also easier. And also, that also proves, if you really want to be successful, you have to be a high performing individual. And if you cannot manage like two things, then that just says that you don't have it.
So currently there is no shortcuts to it, and you have to go through this phase.
Everybody has
Yeah.
to go through this, but people break in this, and this is actually when the universe tests you, that do
Mhm.
you really want this? These are questions that you get every day, that do you really want this? Because there are days
Yeah.
when you feel like, I mean, this is very difficult. Like, I'll be very honest. I mean, they say that men shouldn't cry. I've had days when I cried, and like you go through those days, and
Mhm.
you cannot just stay stuck in that state of mind, and it's
Yeah.
going to be difficult. It's difficult for everybody, and you there's no shortcut. There's no shortcut to effort. There's no
Yeah.
shortcut to hard work. People say that, oh, law of attraction and all of that is going to get you. But I mean, positive thinking is amazing. Like, you need to have a positive perspective. But if you miss
Mhm.
out the whole picture, that if you underestimate the kind of effort that you have to put in, nothing is going
Mhm.
to happen, irrespective of how positive you are mentally. You'll end up becoming very negative, because you'd see that nothing is moving just by thinking that this will happen, because there's no substitute for hard work.
Yeah. So, tell us something about like during this entire journey which you have done for to become this artist. What all things you have worked upon yourself? Like it could be something related to your voice, or like some things like you wanted to grow into this, so that like our students, like who are the listeners to this, so they will understand. Okay, these are the different aspects they should actually work on if they have to follow this career.
True. So, I think it's very good to be somebody who reads. If you, especially, let's say, in my career, it helps you to read. Apart from learning the software, apart from making the music, if I talk about writing, you have to
Mhm.
expand your vocabulary. You have to, be it Hindi, be it English. You have to expand your vocabulary. You have to introduce yourself with new ideas. You have to listen to a lot of different writers who've shared their opinions, shared their thoughts, and
Mhm.
it always helps to take more information in terms of movies, in terms of, let's say, books, in terms of music. Listen to more music.
Mhm.
Develop a good taste in music. If you're talking about music, develop a good taste. Figure out who are the people who are making good music, and why are they considered good,
Mhm.
and what is that trait which resonates with you. Some people are good writers, their lyrics are very good. Some
Mhm.
people are good, producers, their music, their instrument, their beats are very good. So,
Mhm.
uh, basically, just just get more information, get more exposure, and listen to more music. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Like, listen to as much music as possible. The more music you listen to, the more you'll realize that, okay, this is what I like and this is what I don't like. It's okay to, just listen to this one album every day because you like it, but you have to develop this um, sort of like a habit, that you always keep exploring new music. You look for new
Mhm.
music, you look
Mhm.
for underground artists. And then
Mhm.
once you figure out that this is what I like, this is my taste, then you figure out in that direction, in that genre of music, who are the people who are making great music. You study them, you study their lyrics. I used to study their lyrics, I used to study their writing techniques as well, and look
Mhm.
at their interviews. They talk about, like, a lot of people give a lot of information there. So just expose, just give yourself more exposure. And internet is a blessing. And yeah,
Mhm. Yeah,
basically
sure.
listen more. Yeah, listen more, listen to more music. Yeah.
And I'll ask you like three things, which one is tell us about what was the most challenging moment for you during this career. One is what was the most satisfying one, and one what was your the best achievement in this career?
So, if I talk about challenging, last year I was living out of my place and I lost my job at that point of time, and I was still making
Oh,
music. And so at that point of time, I had this one gig which I had to go to. I didn't have no money to even get to the venue. So I had to ask friends for help and stuff like that, which was amazing. I mean, I just look back
mhm,
at it like it was nice. And so that was pretty challenging. Those 2 months were very challenging. I cannot even get into the details because, but yeah, I mean, those 2 months were very challenging. I kept thinking that have I made the wrong decision in my life when I could have done something which could have paid me more. And
mhm,
but I wouldn't be able to do music if I chose that profession.
mhm,
And so I used to think like that. But then at that point of time as well, my only, you could say, support was that I could play music. I could listen to more good music.
mhm,
I have these albums that I fall back on. I just play them. I listen to them, and every time I listen to them, I hear something new in it. And so that was very challenging. Those few months were very challenging, and then luckily I pushed my job. I got a better job, and then I kept making music. And if you say something that I'm very proud of, I would say recently I released my album, and I released that EP, English as well as Hindi, and I'm very proud of it. I I did it independently. It took me a couple of years to do it. A lot of people have done it like way sooner, but then again, it is what it is. I mean, it just took me some time. But once I've done this, right, I have realized something, that my learning is going to help me make the next album sooner. And I'm
mhm.
already working on it. And by the time this Corona situation becomes normal, I guess like in the next 6 months, till then I have like work from home, I will have another album out. And so yeah, this is something that I'm very proud of. And this one song that I wrote, there was this one track that I wrote for my little sister when I was like in college.
Okay.
That song I'm very proud of, and a lot of people like that song only. They don't like my other work because I make like other music which is sometimes aggressive as well, sometimes a little shocking as well. But that song was about something which everybody can relate to, like feeling
Mhm.
feeling some kind of love for somebody. And yeah, so that song I'm very proud of.
That's great. That's great. So I'll ask you some of the questions which are related to your personal life as well. So tell us, like, what do you do in your free time when you are not doing music, when you are not doing your work? What else?
Okay. I basically try to watch films. I'm very blessed that, I have some people as friends who are very good filmmakers. So I try to like get their suggestion. A friend of mine recently told me about this app called Letterbox, where a lot of
Okay.
people who are a lot of filmmakers and a lot of journalists who give like reviews for films. They select and curate um, lists for you, and they actually share good movies. They give you reviews for them as well. So I watch movies, and I try to work out as well, which I haven't been doing. I haven't been like taking care of my health recently. I try to do that, and basically, like earlier, now it's luckily I don't have to do that anymore. But earlier it used to be that my day used to go while sweeping the floor, washing the clothes, making the food, doing dishes, going to the job, and I mean, then making music. So, I mean, yeah, I didn't have no time for anything last year. I didn't have no time for anything. This year, now I have some time, and I'm just trying to utilize it to make more music. And recently, in my free time, I just watch movies, which I feel guilty about because I feel like I'm just wasting time. But I plan
I
to
don't think so. I think like that is going to give you an inspiration more
True,
on this.
true. You're right. I believe you. And I have been trying to, like learn to play an instrument because I don't play any instrument. And
Mhm.
not everybody who plays instruments make music or make songs. But playing an instrument is very important. I hope that
Mhm.
I get to it. I've been trying to learn to play keys. I am learning, but yes, that has taken a back seat for now. But I plan to do that more. So these things just keep me occupied. And yeah, like apart from that, there's nothing special. I'm a boring guy.
No, no. So tell us about how was your family who supported you during all this time because you have faced lots of challenges as well, and because we all know that the support of family does matter when you are
Hmm.
choosing a passion as a career.
True.
So how was the support of your family during this time?
My family was, I wouldn't say they were not supportive, but they didn't really appreciate it. They were thinking that,
Mhm.
they thought that I have aptitude to do something else, and they thought that why am I wasting my time with this? And my granddad, while he was alive, he used to give me a very hard time. So back then, if I had like earphones, and I used to always have earphones on because I used to like listen to music, and he used to get irritated with me every time he used to see I have earphones on. And so was my dad, pretty much irritated. But then growing up, because at that point in time I was you could say um, a good boy. They liked me growing up. But then as I kept getting older, they realized that he's not really listening to us much. And I listened to them like when I knew that these like it was very imperative and what they're saying is actually making sense. And it's just that I just didn't want to do something and regret it later that you guys made me do this, because I hear a lot of my friends saying that my dad made me do this and things like that. I didn't want to be that. Even if I make it,
Mhm.
if I'm successful, I took that decision by myself. If I'm not successful, I take full responsibility for it. I don't have anybody to blame. And so now my family is very very supportive because they know that I'm just doing a regular job as well. Along with that, I'm doing music, so they're very very supportive. Especially my mom. She does not approve of all the things that I do and say in my music, but yes, she is very proud of the fact that I'm doing this.
That's right. Like when you the parents actually see the results, that the results are coming up, then they actually feel very proud of it. And
True.
so that is what our motive is also. Like we wanted to show parents as well that like see, we have lots of different professions in this industry. So
True.
they anyone who likes this passion, who have a passion in something, they can actually follow that career as well, and they can like do wonderful things over there.
True.
Yeah.
And
So,
like,
yeah, tell me.
nothing. I mean, just like when you're young, you start thinking that your parents are your enemies. I mean, they don't want you to do this and all that. But kids should understand that that's not the situation. I mean, if you like, you shouldn't focus on who's not letting you do something. You should focus on how to figure out ways of doing it still.
Right, right. Yeah, that like learning is very important throughout. So, I'll like this is going to be the most interesting segment, which I personally like it. So, this final segment is the like surprising element for you.
Okay.
So, this is so we have a rapid fire round. So
Okay.
you have to answer like few questions very quickly in short words or maybe like in one sentence only.
Mm-hmm.
So shall we start with it?
Sure, sure. Let's go. Hello. Uh,
Uh, yeah, I think his screen
Who-
is pretty bad.
Tell us who is your idol in this field?
who's my idol in this field? Tupac.
Yeah.
The dude died, and he was 24 years of age. Tupac, yeah.
Okay. And if you were not in this profession, then what would have been the profession you would have been following?
I would have actually kept doing sports like a coach or a fitness professional or something like that. Yeah, but
Not a boxer?
no, because like I broke my leg after that. It just became. And boxing is something. I mean, you need to be very dedicated, and when you're young, that's the most important time. When you get older, even coaches don't take interest in you. They're like, तुम्हारा बस जा चुका है.
Okay. So are you a morning person or a night person?
I like to believe that I'm a morning person, but then it just eventually becomes that, it just turns out that, I'm a night person. But I don't do anything productive at night. Morning person for sure.
Like all the artistic thing, I think like either they drive in at your night or in the morning. So
Yeah, yes,
yeah.
they just, I mean, I would like to believe that I'm a morning person because when I wake up in the morning, I'm able to do a lot more.
Yeah. So describe yourself in just 3 words.
3 words: passionate, um, you could say dedicated and stubborn, all negative.
Okay.
Either one negative, yeah.
No, nothing is negative. Like there are something positive behind being stubborn as well.
True, true, true.
So what if you were stranded in an island? What are those two things which you wanted to keep with you on that island?
First of all, music. Like I'll keep a couple of albums with me.
So
Uh,
okay. Let me interfere you. You cannot take anything related to the music.
okay, nothing. Okay, so I would take chess because I can play with myself alone. I sometimes play, and it's interesting. And chess, I would take. Secondly, I would take colors and stuff to paint with, to keep me. And I would take a skipping rope. Yeah.
Okay. That's nice. Like you wanted to be fit as well. You wanted to run your mind as well. So doing everything, you don't like need anything to eat over there, or you will find it in that island
Exactly,
itself.
exactly. That's what it is. That's why I need to be fit because I'll have to hunt or save my
Okay. Yeah, that's great. So, what is your favorite quote of your life?
favorite quote. Favorite quote. This is tricky now, yeah. Favorite quote, you could say that it's a lyric by Common, which he says that um, granted we've known each other for some time, it doesn't take a whole day to recognize sunshine, meaning that you be, and it's not related to a person. If something, it does not matter how long you're doing this for. You don't you can actually figure out that this resonates with me as soon as you see it, be it any profession, be it a person or whatever. If you feel it that it's right, it's right. You don't have to validate somebody. You don't have to validate yourself by thinking, oh, I don't have much experience in this or whatever.
Okay. And tell us about like what compliment do people give you the most?
That they like my music, and what compliment did they give me? um, I don't get too many compliments though, but basically music related compliments. बाकी तो no other compliment. ये फोन जल्दी उठा लेता हूँ ये.
Okay. So
कोई मेरे को
you
कभी
are like very, very responsive.
responsive on the phone. Like you call me, if I see your
Okay.
phone coming, I will not ignore it, irrespective of
Okay,
whether
that's
like you are.
so we are going to share your contact number with all our viewers so that you will be.
For sure, for
That's
sure.
great.
Mm.
And this is a bit tricky question that what was the lowest grade you got in your throughout your education career and what in which subject was it for?
So it was in Sanskrit. I got like
Okay.
33, 33, and I still remember it was my final exam. And
Mhm.
I'm not a very religious guy, okay, but my mom used to tell me that you got to pray and things like that. उस टाइम पे मुझे लगा मेरे को जरूरत है भगवान की इस टाइम पे. So I kept that Sanskrit question paper in the mandir. So that Lord knows that, bro. Please help me out with this one. Please help me out. So I passed in that 33 I got. Yeah. The lowest grade, yeah.
That's
That was the lowest grade.
yeah. No comments from my side on this. And
I failed as well, but then I mean वो ज़्यादा खराब चीजें नहीं बता सकता.
I don't want to comment because I myself scored 96 in Sanskrit in my 10th year, 10th
Oh,
class exam. So,
High
okay.
five.
okay.
Wow, wow, wow.
Okay, so this is not the rapid fire question, but I am very much interested in knowing like your name is unique, Jason.
Yeah.
So tell
Yeah.
us the meaning of your name.
So my name means my mom actually knew about the story. It it's a story of sort of like Romeo and Juliet, Jesal and Toril. So Jesal was this guy who was an outlaw, and then he met this woman Toril who transformed him, and then they became like saints. And
Mhm.
these two people, Jesal and Toril, they're considered like saints, and people go and visit their shrine back where my mom is from.
That's great. Like even you are being a saint in this industry, and you are going to be a shining star one day, and definitely
I, I,
everyone is
I
going to follow.
I just hope one day I'll, I won't stop. I won't stop until that is the reality for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And I have heard like there are like when you are a dancer, when you are a musician, or especially in the DJ, you have some kind of a nickname, and I bet like you must be having one of the nickname as well. I'm interested in knowing that nickname.
So yeah, my nickname is Donziini, and I came up with that nickname
Donziini.
because it's a keyword. So when you type that correct spelling of it, you will find nothing else. I don't even have to do SEO. My content is at the top. So I chose
Wow.
that because if you just type the correct spelling, it will come there. And yeah, that's the nickname, and I came up with that because basically it was just so that my content appears at the top. That is it. And yeah, it's a
That's
combination of
pretty
the word.
intelligent. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, because
But
it
there is meaning. Yeah. There is any meaning behind it as well, or like.
meaning I've made up a
Oh,
meaning in my head. I mean, like genie. I used to be a very big fan of Aladdin, right? So growing up, I used
okay.
to watch any episode of Aladdin growing up. So Aladdin
Yeah.
and
So
Genie cartoon. So
from there you got the inspiration
yeah,
for Genie.
genie, but genie usually, is sort of like a slave or sort of like a servant. He actually does things for people. So I was like, no, this is going to be different. I'm a genie, but this genie is Don, and he's going to make sure that he's going to do what he wants to do. And yes, that's the
Okay.
thing. Mm.
That's great. Like that was such a wonderful session. So, Richa, do you have anything to ask from Jason?
No, but knowing everything has been great. I mean, um, like one of the adjectives which you mentioned was stubborn. I think it's good that you're actually stubborn about what you're doing because
Yeah.
the passion you have to follow your passion if you're so curious and so excited about it, and that's I
True.
mean the story has been really really nice to know. It's kind of very inspiring. Yes.
I'm very glad that you guys chose me and gave me this opportunity. It was amazing to talk to you both. Literally,
Yes,
you have
same. It was
great
amazing.
positive vibe.
Yeah, definitely. It was such a wonderful session with you, Jason. So, to wrap up the session, I would like to ask you to give that one single message to all our viewers, especially the students like who want to pursue this career. That one single message which can change their life.
Um, Learn to do things all by yourself rather than depending on people to give you this, give you that. Just learn to do it by yourself. And that's one thing. Don't depend on people, because if you depend on other people, you don't have no empower. like you're not going to feel empowered at all. It's good to figure out things by yourself, and yes, that's the only thing. And try to get good education. That's primarily because if you're doing a good job, it's easier to do music there.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jesal. And like
Thank
it was such a wonderful session with you, Jesal. I won't call you Jesal now, Donziini.
you.
So it was such a great session with you, and it was an inspiring story which everyone will look forward for. And thanks for being
Sure.
with us.
Thank you so
Yes,
much for
thank you
giving
so
me this
much.
chance. Thank you.
Okay, so to all our listeners and viewers, if you have any questions or if you have any doubts during any time like your career, to ask from Jason, to ask from Vidyafy team, you are very much welcome, and write us at info@vidyafy.org. And thanks everyone. Thanks Richa. Thanks Jason. It was such a pleasure to have you guys.
Thank you so
It was a
much.
pleasure talking to you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.